Well, welcome everyone to tonight's panel discussion. My name is Rosann Santos. I am the Director of Alumni Engagement at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. And with us today, we have 5 stellar alums that are going to share with you what they do, why they do it, and how you can become part of it. And as you know from all of the advertisement, there are jobs in cybersecurity, and we're going to get into what does that mean, what does that take, who do you have to be, and what do you have to do in an interview to really make yourself stand out above the crowd to get these kinds of positions. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our moderator, Julius Caranda. He will be facilitating the discussion and asking the questions, and then he will open it up later on to questions from the audience as we move forward. You can ask questions in the chat, or you can give us an indication with the raising of the hand, and myself or my colleague, Ajua Niarko, will unmute you so that you can go ahead and ask your question. So once again, we know you can be anywhere. It's Friday night and it's pretty nice out. And I know that you could be anywhere right now. And I'm really grateful and happy that you decided to spend a small time of your Friday evening here with us. So without further ado, Julius, take it over.
Thank you so much, Rosann. Everyone, please give a virtual round of applause for Rosann. So Rosann Santos, she actually, we had a conversation about doing this a couple months ago, and she went out and made it happen. She tapped into the John Jay network, found our fine panelists, and we're here today. So thank you to Rosann. Thank you for everyone at the Alumni Relations Office. Thank you, Joe, who's also on the call as well. This is amazing. And thank you all for giving up, a portion of your Friday night to be with us today. My name is Julius Caranda. I'm a double alumni of John Jay. I have a bachelor's in criminal justice, a master's in public administration. I'm currently a senior compliance associate with the New York City Council. Also a job that I got through John Jay because I was an intern when I was a young man. But my background, I have a background in banking, doing financial and some cybercrime compliance, which sparked my interest into cybersecurity. I'm actually studying and researching and looking to make a pivot into the cyber field full time. So I'm sure, as many of you are, I'm very curious to learn a lot today about from our panelists. This is going to be a great discussion. So without further ado, let me just start introducing our panelists. Start off with Abraham Rivera. Abraham is an experienced security practitioner with the domain knowledge of computers, networking, information security management, investigations, training, digital forensics, e-discovery, and incident response in the public and private sectors, including academia. With a span of over 30 years, he has worked for 6 New York City agencies, 3 financial institutions, 1 pharmaceutical company, 4 technical training school, 2 colleges, and consulted privately on a number of investigations. Currently, Abraham is at the incident commander for the New York City Cyber Command, with former roles in banking as vice president of global e-discovery operations and cyber forensics investigations. His last role in NYC was a executive director of information technology and investigative operations and law enforcement officers for the Department of Investigation. He has over 26 certifications in information technology, information security, digital forensics. In addition, he has been teaching aggressive networking and security programs and has been performing speaking engagements at numerous institutions, organizations, and conferences since 1998. Abraham graduated cum laude from the City College of New York with a degree in psychology, and from John Jay College, which is most important, with a master's of public administration and inspection and oversight. All right. Our next panelist is Julius Caranda, who is a cybersecurity specialist in the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission Office of Nuclear Security and Incident Response. Prior to joining the NRC, Mr. Santos served 10 years as a federal air marshal in the Baltimore field office. covering domestic and international flights, as well as performing law enforcement functions throughout the mass transit facilities in Maryland. He also has served in the U.S. Army, thank you for your service, in various roles for 20 years and is currently serving in the U.S. Army Reserve as a logistics officer. Mr. Yanturis has completed a BA in International Relations from Boston University, and once again, most importantly, a Master's of Public Administration from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. In addition, he holds a GIAC certification as an incident handler, forensic examiner, penetration tester, and is currently working on a graduate certificate in industrial control systems, security through SANS Technology Institute. Julius lives in Bethesda, Maryland with his wife, Janelle, and sons, Alex and Nico. Our next panelist is Jim Rigney. Jim has over 20 years experience in participating with C-level customer executives in various verticals to architect and deliver solutions, enabling CIOs and CISOs to safeguard their data. He's well-versed in gathering pain points and expected outcomes and formulating use cases and delivering strategic direction to address them in the short, mid, and long term. He is a CXO level client-facing executive with a proven track record of senior leadership with deep industry expertise, outstanding leadership abilities, entrepreneurial drive, problem-solving skills, and energy, who makes an immediate personal impact. Jim has provided security consulting for clients in financial services, banking, healthcare, education, mortgage services, publishing, gaming, hotel, retail, software, insurance, construction, manufacturing, chemical, communications, legal, and nonprofit sectors. Jim is currently Jim has a lot of experience. Jim is a principal consultant of hybrid pathways. Wanted to just get to your educate. All right, so most importantly, once again, Jim has a Bachelor of Science from John Jay College, Master of Science from Stevens Institute of Technology, and a Master's Professional Certificate in Advanced Project Management from Stevens Institute of Technology. And last, but certainly not least, we have Kin Sam Wong, who's a cybersecurity analyst and adjunct lecturer at John Jay College and he works as a cybersecurity analyst at the New York City Cyber Command and an adjunct lecturer at John Jay College. Previously, Ken was a system security administrator for the Empire State Development. He also works as an information security analyst for TGI Office Automation, and he worked at John Jay previously as a web developer. Ken has a master's degree in digital forensics and cybersecurity from John Jay College, as well as a master's of public administration from John Jay, and in policy and administration from John Jay as well. So, everyone just put their hands together. Once again, give it up for our panelists. It's about to be a great discussion, but let me get to the first question. And since we have we have Ken who's a adjunct lecturer and a former John Jay alum. Please tell me, Ken, what if it wasn't for John Jay, what would you be doing? And what I mean by that is, what has John Jay helped you in your career, your life? What does this great school mean to you?
Okay, so if it weren't for John Jay College, I would have met Professor Smith, Professor Shankin, and Professor Celine in the math department. So they provided me with lots of mentorship and opportunities as well. And so basically, my first IT job, I started at John Jay College. So given the opportunity by Mr. Jiggis and Ms. Peterson. So I want to give all of them a really big thanks throughout helping me in my career and offer me the first IT position at John Jay.
Okay, wow. So you hear that, the audience, Ken, his career started off, his IT career started off at John Jay. Slow, just putting that out there. Okay. Eurus, most careers are not a straight line. What was your major at John Jay, and how did it affect, or maybe not affect, your career journey, and how you got to your current role?
Yeah, I definitely have not followed a straight line. I've made a couple of career changes in my life. I always wanted to serve my country, so I did join the Army. I was on active duty. I came off active duty after I got married, and we wanted to move back. I was in Fairbanks, Alaska, so we wanted to move back closer to family. So we moved to the Washington, D.C. area. And I got into law enforcement at that point. And that's when I found John Jay, because I really was looking for a master's degree that would expand my professional standing within law enforcement. And as it turned out, I ended up started getting job offers on the IT side, because I had a little bit of a background in forensics, computer forensics. And so I ended up making the career switch about a year ago. And so John Jay definitely enabled that. I feel like just being in government, I'm a federal government employee, and I feel like every single day I have some kind of lesson that harkens back to the lectures that I had at John Jay. And I, of course, unlike a lot of people, my affiliation with New York City is through John Jay. I'm not from the city. I have never lived in New York City. But it was an online program called the MPA Inspector General track program. And I was able to come visit a few times. But the main thing is every single day in the federal government, there's something that I do that refers back to that graduate degree that I got from John Jay.
Wow. No, that's powerful. You even though you're not a native New Yorker, you're still able to use the CUNY system, use John Jay in order to move forward in your career. That's amazing. That's really amazing. So, Jim, what is cybersecurity to you? I have an idea. But I think many people in the audience that are watching right now are not, maybe a little confused, or may not have a clear understanding of what the industry is. So, what is cybersecurity to you, and how is it implemented in your role? And is there a certain major or certain internships that students may want to take on to break into the field?
Certainly, Julius. So cybersecurity to me, it's a mile wide and an inch deep, right? So that's saying, like, what is a car to you? It really depends on what type of role you're seeking, and what skill sets you bring to the table, and what work you find to be meaningful, rewarding, and enjoying. So you can say that you may want to go for a more technical role. You're implementing and architecting outer bastion security perimeters, and you're focused on firewalls, IDS, IPS. People mentioned forensics and reverse engineering of malware. That's all important. You may want to go that route if you feel that programming and kind of inductive reasoning and logic is something that interests you. I believe the second part of the question was, what majors, would kind of lead you to that role. So anything in STEM, obviously, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. However, you really have to go to a school that has a diverse curriculum, such as John Jay, with everything from police science and fire science and its core competencies up to a cybersecurity program and forensics and things like that. And I will say that, John Jay, if I could jump back, is, what it brought to me is it's absolutely the best dollar you can spend within the CUNY system towards higher education and getting your foot in that door and being able to try things out in a low risk environment. You're not going to have that crush in college that especially if you're an in-state resident, that you can get elsewhere. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, anything in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We need people in this field that bring a wide breadth and diverse group of experiences, and we need them to be able to apply skills that they've learned through education, experience, and previous employment, to the table. So I definitely would recommend the cybersecurity program at John Jay.
Thank you. Yeah. So you hear, everyone heard Jim. You can come to John Jay and get your ROI with your education, return on investment. For those who don't know. Speaking of money, Abraham, I think for the most part we have people, alumni or people that are about to graduate, and I'm about the dollar. I try, and Abraham always has nice suits on, so I'm sure. So what do the salaries look like in the cybersecurity industry?
Yeah, so what they say, right? It's all about the money, right? So, ultimately, one of the good things about this field is that there are a lot of people that are interested in the work itself, and we never want to go forward and go into a particular industry strictly for money, right? That's the wrong reason to choose a career path, right? However, a lot of the technology is so ingrained, like it's so innate in our nature now, right? That it sort of seems natural to progress into a cybersecurity field. So, going back to a little bit what Jim was saying earlier in regards to, the various different types of, cybersecurity, careers or positions, that can be had, and how you define, cybersecurity positions. I mean, there's so many of them, right? But, when we think about, risk, compliance, governance, e-discovery, digital forensics, penetration testing, incident response, right? There are a bunch of them. But the beauty about this field is that starting salaries range primarily anywhere between $75,000 to $120,000 for more senior roles. And these are like tiered type of positions. We have like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And the positions that I'm referring to specifically are those that are considered entry-level type positions, where you're working in a security operations center and each person has a very specific role. So the first tier would, on average, receive about $75,000, and all they're doing is monitoring and detecting various systems within a company for potential intrusions, right? So there can be alerts on the firewalls, from the proxy servers, like the websites, application servers, various systems that connect or create the internet, right? So all these devices in between, that's essentially what a threat analyst is monitoring and detecting. And for every alert that they receive, they actually have to go through a triage process. And this triage process itself, determines, is this a legitimate alert? Is this false positive where I can just discard it, move on to the next alert? Or is this a true positive where this is, this can be a legitimate alert and it needs to be escalated into an incident? And then from there, through these escalation tiers, it gets passed to the second tier where they do a little more analysis, a little more further investigation, and it keeps getting bumped up to higher level. So the bottom line is that, you can actually make up to 150,000 a year with just a couple of years of experience, but it's the best entry-level type of position. And that's the threat analyst position is today's entry-level position that most companies are actually hiring for.
Wow. Oh, wow. So, okay. Well, I appreciate, so so 75 is usually around the entry-level range for in some cyber roles. So here that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money just to start off with, and it seems like the ceiling is extremely high, right? So I'm going to direct the next question to Juris, but however anyone can answer if they want as well. They want to jump in. The elephant in the room right now is, this is a very diverse group, a diverse panel. We have people from all different backgrounds. However, I do, we do notice that there are no women on the panel, right? So Rosann indicated to me that she has never hosted a panel discussion where there are no women on a panel. So where are the women in cybersecurity? How do we ensure that opportunities are available to everyone? or do you think this just happened to be like a one-off fluke? So you're let me know what you think about that question.
Sure. So the latest study that I saw puts women at about a 25% of the cybersecurity workforce, which definitely is low. I'll get back to that point in just a second. The agency in which I work, on our team, we are about 45% female, which is pretty good, well above the average for the industry. So one of in addition to John Jay, I also used my veteran status to go through an organization called the SANS Institute that does cybersecurity training, and GIAC, which that they're affiliated with, does the certifications. And I saw that there were some certification questions in chat. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna post a couple of links and after I finish answering your question. So SANS and the program I went in was called the Vet Success Program. And they took people who are veterans who were not in cybersecurity and put them through some very expensive training. Actually, each one of those classes is about $7,000 or $8,000 a piece. And we got put through 3 of those classes at no cost at all to the veteran. And they also have women's diversity academies where they specifically want to increase the number of women in cybersecurity, as well as a minority academy as well. So between those programs, they're doing their effort to try to, and I have no affiliation with them other than being a student, being very happy with the training that I received from them. But they do a lot to try to diversify the cybersecurity field. I think they do exist. I personally do not know any John Jay alumni, female alumni that work in cybersecurity. But again, my field was the Inspector General program, the Masters of Public Administration. So that wasn't a direct line into cybersecurity. So others may have a better comment on that. So somebody just posted the link there, but I'll let the other panelists have a go at it as well.
Thank you for that, Iris. If anyone else wanted to chime in on I guess this happens to be just kind of a fluke on the reason why we don't have any women on the current panel.
Yeah, I can, Julius. I can share some of my experience with women in cybersecurity. And one thing to say, without a shadow of a doubt, is that women in cybersecurity are top notch. They have to be on top of their game. And I've never had any slackers. Women in cybersecurity definitely know their stuff. And one of the things that one of the ways I align myself with women in cybersecurity and consider myself an ally to them is I actually attend women in cybersecurity functions. And in those functions, I often try to recruit women to apply to positions that we have available at New York City Cyber Command, and we always have positions open, and just to increase the women within our within our group, and kind of like what Iris was referring to is that we're actually at that maybe 20-something mark, but just to put in perspective, I actually do have one of the managers that reports to me. She's actually a John Jay alum in the master's program, the Digital Forensics and Cybersecurity program. And she's one of the managers within the SOC. At the same time, my boss is a woman. My boss is a woman. And I think I've had a lot of, in the majority of the positions I've had, I've had women as my immediate supervisor. So I always make it my business to basically make sure I'm an ally to women in cybersecurity to just pave the way and sort of have a way to pay it forward in that regard.
Thank you, Abraham. So we're obviously doing this virtually. Usually these discussions, this would have been a year ago. This would have been in person. We would have obviously been at John Jay. So another elephant in the room is COVID-19. How has COVID-19, just where the new normal that we're living in, how has that impacted your job, like your day-to-day job? Has it Have you seen any significant difference? Obviously, you may be working from home, but outside of that, what are some of the differences that has happened as a result of COVID?
I would say the work-wise is kind of the same because the workload and the cases we take in. But I guess in terms of meeting, it's harder. Like usually I don't like to turn on my webcam. Usually I have my laptop closed, connected to my monitor so I can see better. So I guess sometimes one of the things was I always cut into people saying, I don't know, like when will they stop because I can see their facial. So I don't know when will they stop. So sometimes I would just like jump in and I have to like apologize to anyone that I stopped before. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people like to keep the camera, like either they like to keep it off, they'll put the little sticker over it. No one likes to keep their camera. But now in the world of COVID, Zoom, the world of Zoom, everybody has to keep their cameras on, right? To a certain extent. So it's definitely a new normal. So, we're one other thing I wanted to touch on. So, I believe yours is in Maryland. Jim, North Carolina. Abraham is out. He lives in the city, he works in the city, but it's out in PA. I think Ken, you're in New York as well. The reason I'm bringing that up is because oftentimes with different industries, there's like a hub, right? There's a place, you have the tech world in Silicon Valley, out in California. We have like the Detroit Motor City. We have the car industry. Where in the country, or if there is in a place in the country, where is the cyber hub? Does that exist? Jim, would you be able to answer that for me? Is there a place, a specific place where more cyber related jobs are available?
I would say that, and I think Juris can concur. I mean, for government-related jobs that are class that that you're going to be in a skiff, I would say they're concentrated on the DC Beltway. But as far as cyber in general, specific private industry, obviously it's kind of centered around the coasts. New England. I live in the Mid-Atlantic, but as we were discussing before we started the call, I mean, when things go back to normal, you can get most places within an hour or so, or it's a quick 3-hour train ride. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't let that limit you if you're in a non-classified position where you don't necessarily have to show up and work in a skiff all day. I think that, and especially with private industry now, post-COVID, we're going to see a workforce that's going to be virtual, especially to meet the skills gap. People with the skills are going to want to live where they want to live, and they're going to want to telecommute, right? So, I really kind of think that we should be agnostic as to topology where folks.
Okay, all right, appreciate that. Thank you, Abraham. If people applying for jobs is stressful. People, you got to do the application. Personally, one thing I do hate, don't tell anybody, I hate the cover letters. That annoys me. Please, we need to get rid of cover letters if anybody has that ability. But one thing I do want to know, how does an applicant distinguish themselves on their resume to get maybe get an entry level position to get themselves in the door? What are some of the things that they should make sure that they have on their resume?
Yeah, so some of the things that I think that people should focus on is education, certification,
right,
and experience, right? You kind of need all three in order to stand, apart from, from the next person, right? And when we think about, when we especially sending resumes or we're interviewing for positions, we're in competition with others, right? For a particular role, and we have to treat it as such, right? What's gonna, if let's say if all things being equal and two people had the same exact education, the same exact type of experience, but one person had maybe 3 or 4 more certifications than the other, chances are maybe those certifications are geared towards that particular role that the person is going for, and that might give them the edge, right? At the same time, we may want diversification basically of, like we want some difference, right? We want something where, let's say if somebody has a social science degree, for example, although this is a computer position, they have a social science degree, and maybe the employer is looking for someone that's more personable, that can have that, soft skill set versus, the technical skills, so we have to take all these things into consideration, and also keep in mind that, it's good to tailor your resume towards the position that you're going for, right? If you're going to sell yourself, you sell yourself right? You market yourself, right? We don't want to say sell, you market yourself in such a way that you're going to market yourself in the best of your ability, and tailor it to that position. Whatever the position has, you may want to include, those keywords. Don't make your resume too fancy or whatever. Make it simple, because a lot of these employers, they're actually running your resume through these resume systems, and they may not, catch all the phrases or keywords that your resume has, and you may be bypassed, in that regard. So that would be my, my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. So, I see people in the chat, people talking about like, internships, and Jim mentioned internships and volunteer work. So Jim, do you feel as though internships may lean, is it better to maybe somebody to focus on a certification as opposed to the internship, or does it matter? What do you think holds more weight for employers?
I would say, and I actually called my my director of recruiting about this last night, to get her opinion as somebody, because I do a lot of interviews, but she does a lot of screening about this. So I would definitely say that an internship could, because we all know that it's not just what you know, it's who you know, and if you're applying to a job cold, and I hate to break it to folks out there, most jobs that are out there that you see on LinkedIn and other stuff like that, they either maybe filled with an internal candidate, they're collecting resumes, right? And then you end up with within those systems that may filter you out. And what you want to do is you want to build those relationships with not just the students that you go to school with, but an internship. And we've heard from Ken, and we've heard from others on this call that, if they didn't go to John Jay, they didn't get those internships, they didn't have that lead into the job, that's what they do. And they'd say, I think a lot of it is they say, okay, well, this person is teachable. This person has the heart. This person has the desire. They've shown that they want to go the extra mile and make that, commitment to learning cybersecurity. That's demonstrable. If you have a cert, you can brain dump that, right? I'm not saying they're not valuable, and I would never go for vendor certs. I would encourage you to do what Abraham and others have done, is go with the GIAC and the certs that are industry wide, and that they're respected, and it's something that are directly applicable to a position. But while you're still a student, or if you're a new graduate, I wouldn't immediately say go into studying for certs, take 6 months off and get your CISSP, because you're not going to have the employment requirements to do it. You may have because a lot of that stuff you have to have 5 years in a job to do that, and it's not going to be necessarily applicable. So for a new grad or someone that's currently in school going for this, I would highly recommend internships.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that, Jim. So I'm going to jump into some questions that were proposed beforehand from the audience, just some things that our students and alumni wanted to know. So Ken, being that you work for the Cyber Command, and from what I understand, you're personally not working 24 hours, but you all are, your office is open 24 hours. How often does a cyber attack happen within the 24-hour range?
I would say in the citywide, it could be almost every second. Every second, because every second. Yeah. Because to be honest, like, in order for you to detect the attack, your IDS or IPS has to pick it up. What if they don't pick it up? Attack could be from email. Attack could be from your open port. Attack could be from even social engineering. That's what we were talking about before. Yeah. So it's every day, every second. it could happen.
Second, that's kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah.
Second, wow, okay, all right, that's interesting. So another question from the audience, Eurus, cyber policy. How was one be able to get into that portion of cybersecurity, like designing policy around, I believe, I guess maybe for an organization, recommending certain things, creating policy around cybersecurity, maybe even for like a government agency. You're down in DC. I'm sure you have some knowledge about that. How would someone go about doing that?
Well, actually, the team that I work on is largely a policy team, actually. So
Right.
this is actually a very good question. In the federal side, it really goes, they don't mince words in their applications about, or their job announcements about what you're applying for. So it will typically denote that you're applying for an IT specialist, customer support. And that means you're going to be going to help desk, IT specialist, cybersecurity. Then in the description, it might say you're working on network security or whatever. In the job description, it will specifically say what you're working on, and the requirements will be there. So I actually, work in policy. It's probably not my first choice, to be honest, but some people may really enjoy that. And it varies. So for a private industry, it's going to be a little bit different. There are industry groups that do put out policy or guidelines for everybody else to use. And that's the same thing that I do in government. We put out policy and guidelines for the nuclear industry on how they need to secure the power plants and things of that nature. So as far as a specific route into the policy side, I would say probably in the civilian sector, you have to be experienced technically and get that way. Not necessarily on the federal level. They will get you smart on what you need to get smart on during your onboarding process. So but yeah, if somebody's interested in that, you need to specifically seek it out if you're interested for the federal government.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Abraham, just you teach at John Jay, so we have a question from a current John Jay student. So someone said, I'm almost done with my master's in criminal justice. Can I fit in a cybersecurity? I guess they're saying, would they be able to tailor the criminal justice degree somewhere in the cyber field?
So yes. I mean, just like myself, right? My undergrad degree is in psychology, and my master's degree is in public administration, right? And like Eurus, I also did the IG program, and I did it online, at John Jay. And so they weren't really focused on cybersecurity necessarily, but I've always worked in the industry, and so I had the experience. But before working in the field, I actually had many years of practice with computers, so actually I owned a computer. I was actually one of the one of the first kids in elementary school to actually have computers in the classroom, so I always had computers and dealt with computers, and that's part of my point, is that to get into the field, more than likely that the person that's graduating right now with a master's, that they already have some exposure to computers, right? A lot of us have to write papers, and then we know our way around, Microsoft Office, and we know email, and we know how to, deal with, Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all these other, social and networking, websites, right? So a lot of it may already become natural, right? So, my suggestion is to, build, get into, and a matter of fact, I think Jim already put it in the chat group, is to build a home lab. And it can be very easy. You can use your existing computer and use a virtual machine, and there are free virtual machines out there. The one from Oracle is free. Virtual, oh my God, VM. I'm so caught up in the paid ones now, but thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, your VirtualBox. So VirtualBoxes are free, and you can actually build your home lab based on these virtual machines. Once you do that, start acquiring certifications. And build on your foundational certifications. I did post within the chat a whole list of certifications, and start by dealing with vendor neutral type of certifications. You know, I'm total agreement with what Jim was saying. You know, you want to kind of stay away from vendor specific type of certifications unless you're working in a company that actually has that already in place. Then you want to deal with, you know, vendor specific type of certifications. But if you deal with, you know, high end, you know, type of organizations, certification organizations, such as CompTIA, such as Osaka, such as IS Square, such as GIAC, right? These are industry standard type of certification organizations, right? The certifications actually mean something, right? There's a whole bunch of people that can attest to these certifications versus the fly-by-night certifications where you can just walk in the testing center or take one online and 10 minutes you're automatically certified, right? You're not worth, you know, the paper that that is printed on, or the email that gets sent, you know, that says, you know, that you got the certification. And people that have gone through these rigorous certification programs know exactly what it takes to get them, knows exactly what time and effort that has to be put in to get these certifications, right? Like having a degree, right? Like having an undergrad degree or a master's degree, we put in time with that, right? So that's why we all respect each other, you know, for putting in the work, right? Putting in the effort, right? And then we want to, you know, reward ourselves from that, right? One, because, you know, we deserve it. And two, because, you know, we have the confidence that, you know, John Jay, you know, or any other school for that matter has prepared us, you know, for this career path, you know? So, you know, definitely don't despair. A lot of go to build a home lab, go the certification route. I posted a whole bunch of links on, you know, blogs, podcasts to listen to, capture the flag exercises, which will give you a run through of how to go about, you know, being able to detect and find, you know, various, you know, malware or something that's, you know, suspicious on a computer. So go through these exercises and you'll see that, you know, you'll actually surpass what you will learn in school anyway. You know, it's better if you do it on your own and have a different type of degree that you can bring that you can be different from everyone else who's just straight up, you know, having that straight line, right? You know, majored in computers, studied computers, got computer certifications, and wants a computer job.
Thank you, Abraham. So, before I open up open this up to the audience, the Q&A to the audience, you know, I like lists, right? So I like, you know, I constantly have conversations with my friends in the barbershop. Who's the top 5 NBA players? Who are your top 5 rappers? Top 5 certifications. You know, we've been talking about certifications this whole time. So I'm going to start with Ken, then Julius, Abraham, then Jim. Top 5 cyber certifications. If you don't have 5, you know, just you can give me your top 3, or if you have more, please. So Ken, what do you think your top 5 certifications someone can get?
For entry level job is definitely Security Plus. Okay. Security Plus. I did my certified ethical hacking. That one's pretty good. Also from Easy Council, you can get a discount in November when you sign up on Black Friday. I would say CISSP, but that's really later on your career. Let me see. I would say maybe try the new one is probably on cloud computing on AWS and GCP. They do offer free resources for students right now at COVID. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ken. Julius, top 5 certs.
So Ken got the softball. He got the slow pitch. I got like the 100-mile-per-hour fastball throwing reliever coming at me now because he got an easy one. Yeah. So those are the classics. I agree. So I'm going to go a different route because I think that I occupy a different space than the rest of the panelists. Right. So in the nuclear world or the power plant world or manufacturing or industry, we work on industrial control systems, also called operational technology instead of information technology. And that's where really computers in the real world meet. So I'm going to say for us, in the world that I work in, the top dog for entry level is the GICSP, which is the Global Industrial Control System Professional. So I'm just going to list one because I think Ken was right on everything else spot on.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So Abraham, no competition. Your top 5.
Yeah.
Gotta be good though. Gotta be good.
No, all good. So I did list within the chat room what I thought were basically core type of certifications based on what you want your specialty to be. You know, so if you had digital forensics, I think, you know, the best digital forensic certification is the CFCE, and that's the computer certified computer. My God, CFC. Give me a second. Certified Forensics Computer Examiner. To me, that's one of the top digital forensic certifications, because at one time that was only law enforcement was allowed to get that certification, because, you know, many of you don't know this. Many of you know, not the panel, everyone else may not know this, but digital forensics was only law enforcement was allowed to practice digital forensics. So prior to 9/11, 2001, right, prior to the World Trade Center getting hit, in order to do digital forensics, you had to be a sworn officer. So one of the reasons I was able to do digital forensics was because I was an officer. I was a sworn officer, so I had a badge and a gun, and they sent me out to do all these, you know, specialized courses, specialized training. So like Juris, you know, I did a lot of training with Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, for example, because they were like the centralized, you know, hub for digital forensics. You know, so I had a lot of specialized training with them, National White Collar Crime Center. Anyway, the CFCE certification is the top-notch one. Now, because ever since 9/11, they opened up the digital forensic certification to private corporations, to schools, you know, so that's why now it's all available, you know, and available out there. But the best part of it is that the field has grown exponentially, you know, and it's a smart field. You know, we're getting better. The criminals are getting better too, but that's okay, right? Our adversaries are getting better, but there's nothing wrong with that, because as the adversaries get better, so do, you know, the actual defenders, you know, of this, you know. So I say for digital forensics, and that's only I'm going to speak about, you know, is the CFCE.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, and I forgot to mention that it's now open to everyone, that certification. So it's no longer only to law enforcement, and I still believe in the program.
Appreciate that. So Jim, I know you posted it in the chat, but, you know, give us your top 5.
So, and I'll give you the top 5, and I'll tell you why I said them, right? So, Certified Ethical Hacker, I think that's a fun class. It's one of the most sought after cybersecurity certifications for people that are entry level, right? So, there's 3 phases to that. You have the CEH, the ESCA, and the APT. You learn a lot about the different phases of attack. You learn about threat hunting through the kill chain. You learn about doing reconnaissance, enumeration of assets, gaining access, maintaining access. I think you get a wide breadth of information in that course when you study for it, and a lot of it's fun. I also believe that the Cisco now has a CCNA in cyber operations, so they have an associate level class. I am one of I'm a firm believer, and it's possible because I'm old school, that you need to have a firm foundation in at least the basics of networking, layer 1 through 4, to be able to do any type of cybersecurity operations, right? So this will temper that and give you the basics of networking and the basics of the IP protocol suite, tempered with how to deal with that from, you know, an IPS, IDS, SOC operator perspective. I would also, and I said before, and I'm big on the OSCP, the penetration testing with Kali. That you know, is a great cert to have. Kali's fun to play with. We talked earlier about setting up a virtual home lab, and, you know, kind of you know, firing off attacks at, you know, your own machines, and learning how that works, and, you know, using Wireshark and packet captures on the network, and seeing actually how that looks from, you know, the metal on up through layer 4 into the application layer. As Ken and others have said, any of the CompTIA Plus line is great. Security Plus, Network Plus, all that stuff. I think that gives you from Jump Street the tools to at least speak about this stuff intelligently in an interview, which is important. And also too, you have the EC Council. They have an ECSA, you know, certified pen tester. I think that's fun. That is something you can get into, and you can, you know, do red, blue, purple team stuff kind of right off the stick. I think the gentleman here from Cyber Command can tell you how valuable, you know, a skill like that is, if you understand phases of an attack and the threat hunting through the kill chain, how that can, be transferable and portable in, your day-to-day work as a SOC operator.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So one last question. This came from the chat, and anyone can answer before I open up to the audience. So someone asked, do you need the science hard skills if you are already a lawyer wanting to get into the legal area of cybercrime? So that's an open question. If anyone wants to answer that. If you're a lawyer, you already have a law degree, do you also need maybe some STEM skills, anything like that?
So from my opinion, we work with a lot of lawyers because of course I'm in the regulatory space, which is very, deep on the legal side. And they all need at least a conceptual knowledge of what they're talking about. The most important thing, the detailed technical work, those of us that are the geeks can really explain that stuff. We need them to be able to understand the conceptual piece and apply law to it. And so they have, if they end up working in a niche where they need the more detailed technical knowledge, they can always pursue it later. But initially, it's just having an overall conceptual knowledge and being really good at law is really the main part as far as I'm concerned.
Appreciate that, Juris. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it up to the audience. Please, if you have a question, just unmute yourselves. However, once you're done, just mute yourself again. So anybody have any questions, just unmute yourself to any of our panelists.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
My name is Jeremiah. So I had a quick question. So I'm currently an MPAO student and work now as a public sector auditor. And I'm looking to break into the public sector cybersecurity. So I guess my question is, would Home Lab give me an idea of what the day-to-day work would look like in public sector cybersecurity? And then also, I've heard of the CISA certification from ISACA. Would anyone be able to talk about that CISA certification?
Yeah, if anyone can.
Okay, yeah. So I'll, in regards to, like building a home lab, if that would, simulate what, potentially you would find within a security operations center. Yes, you could. I did there are courses, free courses, which I did post on the in the chat in regards to Black Hills Security, Black Hills Information Security. Excellent training and free training. And one of the trainings that they do offer is building these virtualized environments. So to answer your question in short, yes, you could do that and you could learn it that way. Following, those, like their recommendations, for how to go about building a home lab. And you can even check their website. They actually have YouTube videos on it. And I'm not sure if they offer the slide deck, the actual PDFs, but they might even still offer the PDFs on there as well. But I know they do have the video of the how-to videos to do that. That's one. Now, as far as the CISA from ISACA, I don't have the Certified Information Systems Auditor certification necessarily, but I do hold 3 other certifications from ISACA. And I can tell you that, from colleagues of mine that do have the CISA because they happen to be auditors, IT auditors, they have been successful in finding jobs and transitioning into jobs without even, knowing, without having a true foundation of, of computers, like when we talk about security operations centers and knowing that the foundation is extremely important, right? So that's why we always reference, the CompTIA type of certifications, the A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, Security Analyst, those types of foundational, and even the CCNA, the Cisco Network, Cisco Certified Networking Associate in Security Operations. That's where that can come into play. But you don't have to be, completely technical to be able to do the CISA. Being an auditor, you just have to know something about the technology enough to, to get by, and not necessarily have to always be technical in that regard. So my whole point is I just wanted to open it up to let you guys know that, you don't always have to be technical to get into these cybersecurity positions. You just have to be technical enough to do the position.
Thank you. Thank you. Definitely, that helps me because I'm not the technical guy. I want the the smoothest way in. Anyone else have any question for our panelists? Like, once again, just unmute yourselves, and they'll be happy to answer.
Would you guys also be sending us this recording into email, or there are a lot of like links you guys sent that I didn't get to click on everything and see. So if
what I usually do is after an event, usually 24 hours after, but because today's Friday, it'll probably be on Monday. I send out a thank you note with contact information, ask whatever permission the panelists give me to share. And I will send out the link to the recording, and I'll send out the chat transcript, because the recording won't necessarily help you get the links. So I'll also send you the chat transcript where you can actually see all the links and, read them. Is that okay? Does that work?
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
You got it.
And thank you to the panelists, and thank you, Rosann. Thank you to the panelists for providing all the information. The chat's been booming. I've been seeing it going up and down. I'm like, I was a little lost too, but thank you for everyone putting that in. Any other questions for our illustrious guests?
I have a question.
Sir.
My name is Lucas, and I have a question about cyber jobs. Which ones would be less tech oriented? And also, it's a two-part question. So, and the second question is, for jobs that I apply for, I have ACAMS. So which one should I focus on as well that ACAMS would help me with?
That's a good question. Jim, you want to jump on that?
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear I know we just connected earlier, Lucas, but what was the second part about ACAMS?
Yeah, I have an ACAM cert, so I was wondering which positions that would help me with.
So I'm not that familiar with that certification, but so what was the first part of your question while I'm looking that up?
Sure. So the first part is which cyber jobs are less tech oriented and more where I need soft skills.
I would say that, anything in, you guys can feel free to correct me, but anything kind of in governance, risk, and compliance, in IT audit, but, focusing more on like the ISO 27001 and 2, 9001 stuff will be less technical. If you're talking about SOC 2 audits, you better have a basic understanding of, Linux certificate, and, what services are running on a machine, ports, protocols, and everything up from pretty much, layer 4, right? So 1 through 4. So I would think that, ACAMS, looking it up now, it seems to be an audit-centric and financial crimes, investigation certification. So I would do anything in compliance, governance, and, I think Julius and Abraham and others on the call can, sort of speak more to what that looks like, from, kind of that perspective. But that's what I would focus on. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's good. I would just want to add to that, Lucas. Like, for example, I have the CFE, right, the Certified Fraud Examiner, and a lot of people that have CFEs go for the CAM certification, right, the anti-money laundering certification. And so that's, I'm in total agreement with Jim in regards to, getting those types of positions in governance, risk, compliance, auditing, data assurance, fraud, records management, and e-discovery. A lot of these positions are not necessarily, deep dive into the technology, and are more just being able to know how to use a specific type of application or a system, right? So like if you're well versed in a particular type of case management, database, for example, and you know your way around it, or if you know your way around Microsoft Office, very well, it's you basically being a power user in a given application, right? That's what these types of positions, gear you towards, and at the same time has some sort of investigative element to it, where you're actually, gathering up facts, gathering up data. You're taking a bunch of data and narrowing it down to a specific, data set based on a given, criteria, date range, people, elements, and making it in some sort of, narrowed, relevant data set, So I think, you can focus on that if you're interested. Those are the positions that you should be looking into.
I'm going to throw out two kind of niche federal government areas that you can get into. One big thing right now, and I would say if you have any interest in cyber, you need to lean into your tech side, even though you're looking for non-technical stuff. You know, just bite the bullet and lean into it. But the Bitcoin stuff is huge, or, you know, any kind of electronic currency is huge right now in crime. So with the ACAMs, and you get some experience using those cryptocurrencies, you could be in a niche where you're going to be turning down jobs. It's going to be good. And then I would say that the agencies that are big on that is the Treasury Department and the federal government and the Postal Service. The two of them, you could pretty much pick your role if you got some in-depth experience with crypto and have the ACAMs.
Thank you, Lucas, for that question. I have an ACAM, so that helped me out. You know, you helped me with that personally.
Teamwork. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. All right, so before we start wrapping it up, one question I wanted to get to from Lavon Harris in the chat. She asked, what are some good companies you would suggest to look to for entry-level roles? Like, what do you think? And this is open to anyone. What do you think some good companies that people should look for that are hiring, have a good work culture, et cetera, et cetera?
So, I mean, obviously there's consulting firms and things of that nature, but if you want real hardcore cybersecurity work, there's two that are in this area, but they're actually international companies. One is FireEye, used to be called Mandiant, and the other one is Dragos, and they both work. You can lean into a SOC kind of role, you know, an operations center kind of role, being an analyst. You can learn to deconstruct malware with them and do that route, or you can be the kind of incident responder where you're a hired gun going out when a company has a cyber attack and you're going out and figuring out what happened and helping them get back to normal. So those are two, I think, top-notch companies that a lot of people that aren't into this industry don't really know about. So FireEye and Dragos. I'll type their names in the chat so people can have it.
All right, thank you, Juris. Anyone else had any suggestions? Some good companies that they think that are great for the cyber entry level jobs?
I would say maybe start your own company. Like if once you do your AWS cert, GCP cert, these cloud provider will give you, I wouldn't say seed money, but they will lend you maybe a couple of $1,000s for you to use that service. So once you get the cert, you can start selling. But of course, you have to have some technical background. Yeah, that's your seed money.
Yeah. No, I like that. Kid is hitting us with entrepreneurship. Yes. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I just want to add to that very quickly. Instead of looking at like the type of companies or whatever, maybe if you go a different route, for example, and look at industries that you'd be interested in working for, right? If you're interested in working for the public sector, if you're interested in working in the health industry, if you're looking to work in the financial industry, like what is it that interests you in regards to the industry, and then start applying out for that. So that way your job becomes more meaningful, right? You're doing something that hopefully you would love to do, or that you're interested in doing, and doing it for a company that you actually feel something about, that you're passionate about.
Yes. All right, I think Zana had a question.
Oh, yes, I did. My question was like, if you're, I want to get into hacking and coding. So I wanted to know like what systems, or if there's any certifications that one can get like on their own without having to like necessarily get a degree in it.
Mind if I take that one?
Yep.
So yeah, I put a couple out there. There's definitely some things you to look at. It was in you want to look at the link, and I'll send it back out about the OSCP with PWK from Kali Linux. You definitely want to look at Kali. You want to do what Abraham suggested and others have suggested here is get yourself a home lab. It's free. You can use VirtualBox. You can, set up, free Windows VMs. There's a ton of places that you can download these things and have them attack each other, affect them with malware. You can practice your forensic and case stuff that you're doing within a sandboxed environment. And I think what's more important than getting that cert is being able to speak to these things competently in an interview and having the key points that, I interview, a ton of people, every week. And, if they tell me, I'll ask them, where do you get your security news? And what do you have in your home lab? Send me a picture of your rack, right? So, something like that. And, if I see this is somebody that you can get ASA off of eBay, Cisco ASA firewall, you can get a ton of stuff very cheaply, under $100. And you can do a lot of it virtually. You don't even need that powerful machine anymore. You can do it on a regular laptop. Play with it, learn it, will understand the expected behavior, and then you can go out and go for those certs.
Thank you so much for that, Jim. All right, so that was the last question. That we everyone, it's Friday night. I want everybody to enjoy the rest of their evenings. The weekend's about to start, so hopefully everyone's gonna have a good one. But please just give a virtual round of applause for our panelists, Jim, Abraham, Julius, Ken. The incredible work. This was amazing. I think this is actually way better than I even expected. I'm like, I'm about to take my CSI SSP tomorrow. My CE8. I'm about to go certification crazy over the weekend. So thank you, Rosann. I'm gonna kick it, Rosann. Rosann, please, and also give a round of applause for Rosann once again. Rosann Santos, Joa, everyone from the alumni relations office. They made sure they put this together for everyone, for alumni, students, giving you all information. You tap it into the John Jay Network. You see how incredible this school is. This school is near and dear to my heart. I'm not going to tell you all when I started. Not going to date myself, but this is incredible. So Rosann, please take us home.
Thank you so much. This absolutely exceeded my expectations. I'm not going to lie. 68 people on a Friday night. That tells me how serious and how important the network is for all of you who want to get out there and you want to do the right thing and you want to work. And my job is to show you how bomb-ass John Jay alum are. And I think that was proven tonight. If I could use, I already said it, right? It's already on recording. But the John Jay alumni, this is amazing. This is the tip of the iceberg. And if there are any alums on the call who want to be involved more, want to participate, want to do webinars, want to be panelists, or want to give me further recommendations on the type of panels you want me to bring, I will do it. This is what I do. I'm like the little emoji whose head is exploding right now because I just learned a ton of stuff. I don't know what a home lab is, but I'm going to Google it as soon as we get off this call because I'm really curious about what that means. And I have a 13-year-old who needs to get a job. So I want him to learn what all of this is about. So with that said, my gratitude is amazing right now to all of you. I thank you for everything that you've done. And you went above and beyond by participating in the chat because I could not follow the links. I didn't know what all of the acronyms were. So you guys went above and beyond, and I'm so appreciative for that. I know that our young people who are about to graduate or who are new alums are appreciative, and I hope that you all take heed of the network. I'm a broken record. Get those LinkedIn pages in a good place and network. These gentlemen they have a LinkedIn pages. That's how I found them. And they responded to me. I know they will respond to you. There were questions about jobs, how to get in. A couple of people chatted me privately that they were having a difficult time. I have no doubt that the folks on this call, on this Zoom, will help get you there. I do want to invite all of you to a future event that's going to be virtual mock interviews. And Jim, I'm letting you know, I'm going to invite you. Hopefully you can make it to be one of the interviewers.
Oh.
We're going to utilize the Zoom breakout rooms so that you can have 15 minutes in a mock interview. And then the interviewer, someone like Jim, will give you feedback. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? How do you need to improve? so that you can knock their socks off when you walk into those interview spaces. So keep an eye out. Follow me on all of the social media, Facebook, John Jay College Alumni Relations on Facebook and LinkedIn, or you can follow me personally at Rosann Santos, and I post all of our upcoming events. And in the email where I send you the thank you and I send you the recording, I will send you our upcoming calendar of events. It's essentially jjay.cc/alumni events. So it's a bit.ly. And I'll stop there. I'll let you get to the rest of your Friday evening. Have a wonderful weekend. Please be safe out there. And I hope to see you at the next alumni event. Thank you.